Hi folks, another game today in the ITSL League against Stryker, who's better than me. So let's see how this goes. I'm downstairs because my wife is going to be doing some drilling, so look forward to hearing that. So I'm USA. I do not hold D-Call or D-Style. I don't have socialist government, so I'm opening 442, I reckon. Want to play Warsaw Pact quickly, and I can blockade away Suez or de Gaulle. Not heavy on ops. And Asia's probably the headline, because I don't want to use Purge to ditch Asia scoring. Alright, so Stryker's over on Mountain Time. Let's have a quick look at his rating then. Pretty strong for a recent addition to play deck. My USA record will never be that good. So let's see what he makes of all this. (442) Warsaw Pact for my first ops in the hope. I mean, of course, he's going to coup with NATO first if he has it. But at least then Warsaw Pact enables NATO. So 4-5, interesting. We'll still open 442. And I'm going to headline Asia scoring. If he's got Vietnam Revolts or D-Call, then well done him. But I really don't see a smarter headline. So let's go with that. And let's plug in cards. So Suez and de Gaulle and Warsaw Pact. I've got CIA. Special relationship. Oh, does he headline Europe scoring? Could be worse. Good to get cards out the deck. Blockade's my last, of course. So opening queue's likely to be on Iran, and oh no, he's going influence. Interesting, interesting. Fine, pressing the case hither and yon. So I'm pressing into Pakistan, even though Asia scoring's gone, to try and start building on Asia, especially if he's going to try and take South Korea. NATO's gone, but it'll be back. If he coups Pakistan and it's not super strong, I can counter coup with Red Scare Purge, although he will then get the last purge, last coup on Iran. But obviously it also stops the risk of getting a 2-1 or worse alignment on Iran. He hopes, wishfully. So I'm likely to blockade away Suez and play de Gaulle in. Make it 3-1 and hope to not have an ops war. Obviously Middle East is the disputed territory right now. So I don't think I've played Stryker before, have I? No. Fine. I'm sure I've seen the name kick around. Perhaps it's on Reddit. Or I've seen other people play him. Alright, let's see what happens next. A coup on Pakistan with the China card, maybe, or a coup on Iran. A coup anyway. Let's see. On Iran. It fails. Formosa comes into play. So the option is a false coup on Iraq, or even a strong coup with Red Scare Purge, which also protects Pakistan. I'm going to be bland and false coup. We're going to blockade away Suez. I didn't think a 4 was going to cut it there. So, last coup on Iran. And then I need to think about overprotecting and also getting a foothold in the Middle East. So I expect to see a last coup on Iran. And I hope they're not holding it as Pakistani war as well, I suppose. Let's see. Let's see what comes next. Middle Eastern scoring gets dropped. A rather risk-averse, with all the scoring cards gone as well. Interesting. Oh well. Let's shore up the things. Let's hold on to some ops still. Let's put 2 in Thailand. Yeah, I'm kind of not sure what to make of. So Nora gets spaced. And he succeeds. I'm going to event de Gaulle. With 4 ops still in my hand. Rather than start space race competition. And I just want to stay ahead in France. East European unrest comes in. Finishes taking South Korea, starts pressing around in the Middle East. I'm going to keep my ops for the last round, so I'm going to finish off taking France. If he plays into Egypt, I'll coup there. But I want to drop DEFCON to protect Asia. Although, of course, a decol headline does just as much trouble. Let's see what happens. Second guessing's not for me. More influence. Interesting high DEFCON turn. So let's do a stupendous coup on Iraq and see what happens. Nothing happens. I get decol, that's good for me. Korean War. NASA. So what's... Olympic Games is probably the best of a bad bunch headline. Unless he headlines duck and cover, that seems distinctly unlikely. So let's headline Olympic Games. What's a likely headline from that side? Indo-Pakistani War at 3rd. Socialist governments, obviously quite attractive. Arab-Israeli War at 50-50. Those are the 3 likely headlines. Arab-Israeli war followed by an Akur and Iran leaves me in a very parlous state. Here we go, let's see what happens. Well, I get the Veeps. Does he get them back? He does, so now the Akur and Iran is a big deal. And it's coming big. Oh, that's very lucky for me. So we'll start protecting against de-Stalinization as well. He knows I'm not holding any scoring cards, so that didn't give him any information that wasn't an issue anyway. So I need to be very protective of Iran now, lest I lose my only foothold into the Middle East. So I might use independent Reds and stuff to start trying to sneak towards Turkey. So I want to be holding decol, which means eventing NASA. That's another bummer, but obviously the Western Middle East is already closed off to me now. 4 free ops with UN intervention. Moving around a bit. Alright, we're going to use independent Reds to tap Iraq to maintain a foothold in the region. Yeah, sorry, did discard CIA for ops. He's going for it. This is huge. It fails, lucky me. We're going to space Korean War. Or we're going to make use of the tempo that was given. Tap it either way, so. Let's go with that, now that we know that Indo-Pakistani war's out of the deck at the moment. So I've really only got 2 clean ops at the end of the turn, one of which has to go into Thailand because of Vietnam revolts. Goodbye Finland. Good take on Lebanon, because that was the next step to jump to. Right, we'll space Korean War, because I'm losing ground on tempo now, but space ain't going nowhere. So for Vietnam revolts, I can do 1 in Thailand, 1 in India, to help shore up Pakistan. And I have to event NASA whether I like it or not. Good. It's a clean op for me. Gonna keep moving before the coups come in. So I'm praying to get D-Style in the end of the turn 3 deal. Because I'm going to be going into the mid-war around par. Or at least I get a little containment boost for my AR6. Right, so let's put one in Thailand, another one in Iran to try and defend against control. Come on, D-Style. Come to my hand. Oh well, there you go. Unfortunately, I get Middle Eastern scoring, which ain't getting much better. So I got 5-year plan, he got duck and cover. What's going on? I got captured Nazi, that's a bonus. He got duck and cover and defectors, so he knows I can't defect him. Comic-Con and Socialist governments are in his stand. I've got D-Style. Then we read the discards and I picked up Fidel. Middle Eastern scoring. Olympic Games special relationship. So, captured Nazi, Middle Eastern not going to get much better. Captured Nazi I can just event at some point anyway. I could try and use 5-year plan to pull defectors or duck and cover. But I feel like Middle Eastern scoring, just to get it out of the way. So I'm going to do that. 5-year plan's my highest op card, so to headline it and then have an empty round for Middle Eastern scoring is not very appealing. He socialises me. Might start an ops war on France or West Germany, which I'm going to struggle in. And there are a lot of 4-op cards back in the reshuffle pile. So I'm looking for a sympathetic Asia scoring. So Comic-Con's probably going to pour into France. Yeah. We'll respond. Keep driving it up for the time being. He'll use duck and cover, potentially. Looks like I have to event Fidel to hold D-Style. That's not a good sign. NORAD influence pouring in as well. Is this the point at which I admit defeat in France? Because I know he's got duck and cover as well. I'm going to take the coup, and I leave enough in Algeria that it doesn't prevent a CIA threat. So he's got a space duck and cover now. So he can finish taking France. So I may be slightly behind par on score at the end of early war, but I have at least deprived him of D-Col and D-Style in the early war. So he'll finish off taking the Cambridge 5. Finish off taking We're going to hold special relationship for now, although we don't expect he has NATO. Event captured Nazi space decol. Use special relation for ops, possibly to tap France. He's going to go again. Fails again. Bonus. Lucky for me. So we'll event captured Nazi. I tell you what, today I have survived the Indo-Pakistani wars like a boss. So I think he's holding duck and cover and defectors unless I've completely messed up card tracking already. Duck and cover has to go to space, so it's just what he does with the ops for defectors. More space decol. I can even space D-style if I want. If he doesn't space duck and cover, although he's got to use the China card if he doesn't space duck and cover. Yeah, okay. So, we'll use special relationship to tap France. So slightly behind par, but managed to deny decol and D-style, which is a bonus. Puppet governments is good for me to expand. Muslim Revolution I can more or less put back in net. So D-style's the space card. Colonial rear guards for the headline's not terrible. So I think I'm going to headline colonial rear guards. Latin American death squads is the other option, but Panama's the only target at the moment. So let's go with CRG. Alliance Suez. Suez is nasty as well. That's puppet. Wheel is only worth 1 op. Missile envy, okay. Muslim Rev, That's kind of gross. Glad Middle Eastern scoring has been. And I just have to hope for Camp David and Sadat. Although he may still choose to take the coup and let me walk straight back into Iran. OPEC's starting to look juicy for him. I can use one of the puppet governments to push into Libya. Make some threat there. So puppet governments will be Libya, Venezuela, Argentina. I'd expect the AR1 coup to either be Africa or Panama, depending on proclivity. I'll take Zaire instead, with one small step. So I'll use Missile Envy to play back into Iran, because I can't handle an absence of battleground / risk of presence. Or do I? What are the risks? I think instead I'm going to use my... oh no, I have to use Missile Envy, of course. Okay, so instead I'm going to put one in Iran and one in Angola to shore up against any shenanigans on the one-stab areas. because I want to try and retain a majority in Africa for the time being. I may have to event Arab-Israeli war, which again is a bit gross. It's 1 in 3 now. We do want to get to the space before him as well. I've got a lot to do. I need to remember if he moves into Iran or Afghanistan to protect Pakistan against the China card as well. Because Asia domination is something I absolutely need to try and keep on top of the VP leaking. Okay, he's going for it. We can keep Europe down for the time being. And I've picked up the China card, which is a bonus. So we're going to do that. So it's going to cost him 3 ops to take another country. At which point I start losing the race. So I need to start tapping France. / Greece. And then it becomes a question of tempo. Which one of us can afford to fart around in Europe, and which one of us should be developing our board position? I'd ideally like to be using puppet governments to move into South America, and so on. So he spaces VOA. He gets there. It's a big score for him. We'll take Iran back and cover West Germany. Need to start worrying about the ticking up of the VP tracker now, because OPEC's worth 4. I need to pop another 1 in Panama to stop it being presenceless in Central America. He's leaving me with a lot to do. Does get to South Africa and rest first. We'll respond there, but we'll also leave the 3 flip open, which is unsatisfactory. But I also don't want to leave 3 open in South Africa for the 2-1 realign. So I'm kind of damned if I do, damned if I don't. South America drops for nothing. We're going to space Suez and hold D-Stal until I see Salt go. And we're going to have to event Arab-Israeli war, which chagrins me also. So now that South America's dropped, I'll use puppet governments to go 1 Chile, 1 Romania, 1 Libya, to gain a foothold in South America in a not very easy to coup area, and try and gain adjacency. Great, Europe only drops for 1 VP, that's a bonus for me, I guess, given how the score is looking. So yeah, we'll event puppet governments, and we're going to go 1 Libya, 1 Romania, 1 Chile. AR7's Arab-Israeli war, I could end up down 16 VP here and OPEC ends the game, which wouldn't be ideal. I'm really hoping for Asia scoring and Southeast Asia scoring to kind of let the pressure off. Well, let me know if you spotted anything wrong so far. Counting back, I don't see any howlers. Just seems to be the way the game's played out. Ops warring with fewer ops. Losing the wars. See what AR7 yields. But really only the Asia scoring cards are going to give me a breather here. And the neutrals, Junta ABM, Brush. Whichever one of us pick up those is going to make a hell of a difference. Well, let's see what he's cogitating over. 2 VP for me. That's 2 precious VP. Libya and overprotect France. So, I'm going to shore up Panama. And I'm also going to put one in Malaysia to make sure Thailand's not as brush warrable. And I'm hoping this misses. It does. So, I don't go into turn 5 quite as down on my luck as I was. I've got Asia. Africa's currently 0. I get OPEC. That's a blessing. So I can ask not away a bunch of nasty cards. Asia scores well for me, he hopes. So what's the headline? He might ABM, so Africa's definitely no good. Ask Notting Africa makes it obvious. So Camp David or US Japan, really. If I ask not, he's going to coup Panama, which means then they need to get to Mexico. But fine. So he pushes in with Allende. Ask not ditches OPEC, Africa, and D-Style. I don't mind him sorting all those. Now access is a thing. I'm going to keep Camp David because it's better than a neutral 2. And obviously all the other ones are worth keeping. Kitchen debate sound good. I get Libthi. That's a bonus for a nasty card. But trading 4 ops for those wasn't swell. It's a good thing I had lots of 4 op cards to begin with. Okay. So CIA's out the way. We now know he has a lot of blue cards. Let's plug the rest of mine in. So CIA's gone. Well done him. And he's got Panama Shuttle. Panama and OAS, blimey. Southeast Asia scoring, good for me. ABM nuclear test ban. OAS Eastern European unrest. So he's not used the op yet. I'm going to get the coup off in Libya. Live and hope. Nope. So let's see where he puts the op. Let's do that to start. And invite a coup with ABM. Southeast Asia scoring fairly handsomely for me at the moment. be spacing liberation theology this term. Arms race isn't going to work in my favour this turn, because ABM's going to blow that out of the park. Nuclear test ban as well. Ops rich. May fancy 2 in Chile, 2 in Uruguay to threaten the double realign. In which case, if he doesn't do that, I can push 2 to Peru and threaten to realign Chile. I'm sufficiently far ahead in Asia that shell diplomacy is not very interesting to him. I may get space and he may not, because liberation theology is highly spaceable. South America scored, of course, which makes it less attractive. Given the way the scoring cards are played out, I'd expect an ABM on Panama. And I just have to hope it's insufficient. Drop Southeast Asia scoring. Doesn't see that getting any better. So the option is, do I press the case by putting another one in Afghanistan, or do I just take the 5 VP? I'm going to space liberation theology. And I miss. That's a bummer. Headline peaking would have been nice. I don't want to blow through my ops while I know he's holding 11 himself. Eventing Camp David's a must, because then Sadat obviously flips Egypt my way. And I'm inclined to pop 2 in Libya if I get a shot. But let's see what he does here. Yeah, pressing the case in Uruguay. So we are cautiously going to put 4 in Chile and call South America a wash. And we'll see if he ABMs Argentina rather than Panama, which I can live with. Two into Brazil. And 2 into Libya. So he beat me to Libya. We'll play Asia scoring now. He's still got ABM. And I expect him to play shuttle diplomacy for the ops. Yeah. Fine. Getting ready for Panama Canal returned. We'll event Camp David. So it looks like he's going to hold on to OAS. Of the 2. Right, prepare for drilling noise, audience. Treat yourself. So this is the sound of Stryker's thoughts, I hope. Okay, this will be Panama. And Argentina. Okay. And it was very bland in the end. So we'll use arms race to cover. And the extra op we'll put into South Africa. That was lucky for me. So yeah, I expect to see him event Panama here. And I'll use Summit to overprotect Angola. Oh, now control's a risk, isn't it? I'm going to use another op into Iran for protection. So he's holding OAS. I managed to pick up Junta, which is a bonus. Oh, I got Portuguese Empire. That's nice too. Junta's the obvious headline. So I'm going to be obvious. I picked up We Will Bury You and Che. You two in Portuguese. Purge and Salt. And How I Learned. Yeah. So, Brush War's still out. Quagmire Bear Trap. He may choose to pull... Oh, so he goes Korean War for the Milops. That fails. That succeeds. Two versions of war. If he's got Brush War, I expect him to drop it on Panama now. If he doesn't drop Brush War on Panama now, I'm going to use Purge to put 2 in Costa Rica and 2 in Mexico. A repair there doesn't matter too much. Do I have any... Actually, we're going to event Che first and hope he fails on Costa Rica. Big success. So Brush War's a big issue in Panama. But I can't always get Che out the deck. Spacing Portuguese Empire is fine for me. I'm thankfully ops rich, but I've got to do something. Okay, Lone Gunman comes off. That's understandable. What do we think? I'm going to space first. I'm going to hold We Will Bury You. This time I get to the peaking square. The question is, do I go for a gaudy coup on Costa Rica? I can use How I Learned to alter DEFCON. I get my Milops. That's understandable. Let's put 3 in Yugoslavia to cover Brush War in Italy, amongst other things. Yeah, puppet governments into Finland would have been more attractive, I suppose. Still an adjacency point. I forgot about Romanian abdication not having been evented. So dodging war games will be crucial. And Middle East is where I've got the most trouble. Alright, we'll start racing battlegrounds in Europe and shoring up against various realignment potentials. Benelux is a goer too. This might be a fun who gets brush war question. Because Central America is going to swing hugely to him if he chooses Panama. Italy is no longer attractive. Iran's fairly massive at 50-50. Of course, sorting ABM's always fun for crazy realignment potential. Let's see where flower power goes. Okay. So what do we think? If I sort ABM AR7, what can I do between now and then? I've got headline peaks now. Let's event how I learned, keep it DEFCON 2, get my Millops. And AR7 will sort ABM. Given that I'm not, positionally, I'm not horrific. West German is 2-2 at the moment. And I can use We Will Bury You to drop DEFCON to 2 after an initial coup by the opponent, albeit for 3 VP. But a +2 realignment opportunity on France is too good to pass up, really. So sorting ABM is very attractive. Have we seen Marshall go again? No. Okay. I have seen Cuban Missile Crisis go there. Brezhnev's still not out. Quagmire Culture Revolution. South African Unrest has gone. Cult Rev to pull the China card is a possibility, especially if he draws Usuri. But the China card's not able to flip anything, although 5 into Japan isn't a bad shout with Asia-Japan gone. So let's see. AR6 is bland, but an extra 1 into West Germany isn't terrible. Especially if he catches wind, I'm likely to sort ABM. Although there's a lot of cards still out there. He might expect a bear trap. He may Quagmire me, which would be a brilliant AR7 by him. In which case I just ditch We Will Bury You, to my chagrin. So let's see what comes next. Sadat needs to come at some point to help shore me up in the Middle East. I'm still awfully Muslim revolutionable. Oh, good. Thank you. Where does the one go? Yeah, ready for John Paul. So we'll pop another one in West Germany. Will we? I'm now less fearful about that. I might pop another one in South Africa, because I don't want a 4-op card to fill that up. So he's still holding OAS. What's his other card? Marshall Plan. Lots of ops for his last bit. See what he does. This is an artifact of me undoing, I think, which is problematic. So he pours influence into Argentina, which I'm okay with. Let's sort ABM. Or neutrals are this way. And prepare for shenanigans in Europe. Especially as I'm headline peaking. Do I get Brush War? I do not get Brush War. That's a bummer. So he gets Brush War and Central America scoring. And Quagmire, which he may event. I get Brezhnev, which I can use AR7. He gets Cultural Revolution. I get Yasuri, so I can always claim it straight back. I get Nuclear Subs. He gets Grain Sales. And he gets Emit and John Paul. And I've got Central America scoring, duh. That makes sense. And what else do I get? Shane OPEC back. So, let's see what he headlines. The ABM realign is still attractive. DEFCON is 5. Plenty of time. Obviously, Central America being scored for 0 is attractive, though. So I think the priority is to see what he drops. OPEC is my preferred space card, ideally. But I might be going into late war here with a War Games deficit to offset. Which is, of course, somewhat problematic. But he knows I sorted ABM. Quagmire is quite likely. But even if it is, a +2 realign on France is too good to pass up. So let's do it. Let's stick with the original plan. A good start. No change. No change. Last time for luck. Splendid. That will require repairing. At the very least. He does flip Panama, though. So he may press all out for control. He pours back into France. So picking up duck and cover. Interesting. And that brush wall was strong. That's a bummer. That's left me in a bind. We know he's got grain sales. It's going to take a 6 to make a big difference there, which is a tall ask. Ouch. It's not looking so rosy. Too much to consider. That's not good, because that just invites a coup on Mexico. And we know he's holding Quagmire and Cultural Revolution. We're in the kind of unpleasant position of having to hope he doesn't have a great deal of scoring cards. If he's got Europe scoring and Middle Eastern scoring, I'm in a heap of trouble. Right. I do not have any non-battlegrounds, so we're going to start with... No, oh man. I'm going to drop Central America scoring, because it's not going to get any better. I want to get the final coup off, perhaps on Libya, to balance up the Middle East. I mean, if he's got Europe scoring, he's going to drop it quickly, I think. So, USSR's not in bad shape here. I've got a lot of work to do. The sound of my thoughts. I'm expecting him to quagmire me at some point, and he's expecting me to bear trap him at some point, of course. So, keeps Defcon high, does some overprotecting. We are going to space OPEC and hope for the 3 VP square. And that fails too. So we know his full hand. Quagmire, Culture Revolution, Grain Sales, Our Man, John Paul. So no more headline peaking. And we may have a flip on the... So... The question is at what point I bear trap him / before he quagmires me. But for now, let's get a coup in and drop Defcon down. Not bad. So will we see a final riposte coup? If we do, it might be Mexico for control for final scoring, or more likely Nigeria, given there are still scoring cards to come out. I may want to hold nuclear subs because CIA's gone and grain sales, and it gives me a chance to have a crack at levelling up some regions for final scoring. Apologies for the drilling. Okay, so he's not quagmiring me. That's a bonus. Even if the outcome in the Middle East is that. So an AR7 bear trap is now attractive, although that then means I can't use we will bury you. Unless I use Yusuri to take back the China card. Because of course he'll have to play Cultural Revolution by the end of the turn. Oh, no, he can hold Cultural Revolution. But that would force him to play OAS. So I can either play China card and hope to take it back with Yusuri, which leaves me more hold cards, as well as a bear trap AR7. Let's do that, because I think I can stay ahead of him in Asia. Let's level up in Europe again. Now I'm hoping he'll lose cultural diplomacy, and I can use Yusuri to steal back China. And I'll be, I don't know, the downside of bear trapping AR7 is, of course, unless he uses his, unless he leaves himself OAS, I can bear trapping. Oh no, I'm thinking stupid. Okay, I'll get to burn some cards here. This is good, that's good, that's good. We'll leave Summit in the deck as a boring one-opper, and Alliance for Progress is worth 2 VP for me, so we can leave that in the deck. So let's first see what he does with 2 ops. Of course I could AR6 Brezhnev. Not unreasonable. Knowing that he can't space this turn. So dodging war games is a must. Things are not good in the state of Denmark. Although I've got an op in it at least. Let's see where this goes. Okay, so he's threatening to realign Chile. Alright, we'll pop Brezhnev on now, but take Peru in the process. That's giving him 4 ops with Cultural Revolution. And 3 with... Oh, so he gives me the 2 with... That's fine. I'm content with that. So it looks like he's planning to hold Cultural Revolution, which isn't stupid. Alright, we're going to overprotect Denmark as well. We're just going to basically say Europe's going to be kept to a VP, if I can help it. So let's see what he does AR7. Will he use John Paul? Seems likely. And then I can bear trap him to get the first AR. And use Usuri at some point, unless he's going to get greedy and use cultural diplomacy for 4 ops. I don't know. That seems unlikely. I don't know if I mistimed Brezhnev there, but I have done. Okay, so he pumps Chile. So let's bear trap him. AR7. And I can use Usuri if I have to. But let's have the late war cards and see if I can dodge war games. That's the must. I'm not holding it. That's a bad start. So Missile Envy is a good shout. And hope to avoid Cal. But I've got We Will Bury You. And Duck and Cover's gone. So let's headline Missile Envy. And see how many 4-oppers he's got. He gets Lone Gunman off. Do I get Cal? Oh, boo! So he's going to get a coup off. But no war games this turn at least. I now of course need to space We Will Bury You. A coup on Nigeria, yeah. Fine, expected. And Missile Envy gets out. Let's retake Chile. We're going to use Tear Down This Wall for another hopeful realignment as well. And if he events John Paul, I'm definitely eventing Solidarity. Oh, he drops Europe scoring. Well done him. A good deal. So we'll try and space first. That's very helpful. And fairly big. It leaves me having to use socialist governments, and I expect him to purge France, so Tear Down This Wall first is kind of key. Unlucky for him. Let's tear down this wall. Try again. Good start. Fantastic. Splendid. Too good to pass up. He'll just be glad Europe left early. Good time to play socialist governments. We can start a coup war if I don't flip Nigeria. Good, we get the coup war going, and that gets me below war games at the moment. So we'll take a coup back. Not a 1, please. Oh, it had to be a 1. So we know he's holding John Paul. Okay, right. So Solidarity is not going to be coming out. What's his other card is the key question, because one of them's John Paul. It's Summit. Alright, we're going to hope Africa scoring doesn't come out, and we're just going to poach the China card. Well, splendid. Voice of America was going to come in rather handy here, I think. Aldrich is a problem, of course. So we know he's holding John Paul, and that's about it. Lots of playable 2-oppers. Soviet shoots down Cal for the DEFCON, and the VP isn't terrible. Although, some unhelpful scoring cards. But let's go with the DEFCON dropper, and hope he doesn't drop a scoring card to start. Oh boy, there's actually a lot to consider here. AWACS is also nice. If I'd have held South Korea, Cal is obviously a lot more attractive. Although Muslim Revolution's been discarded, hasn't it? Yeah, so AWACS is less attractive. Let's go Cal and hope South America scoring doesn't show up. So he's going to stop me cooing this turn. But he in turn isn't going to get a great deal of cooing off. Oh boy. I have no way of preventing the scoring of VPs. So let's start by pumping Algeria. And if he's got war games, he's won. And well done him if so. Because I was struggling for a while. This may turn out to be one of those unjust times where he's got Asia scoring and not war games, but we'll see. That suggests no to war games. Voice of America to drop Africa scoring to even. We're spacing Iranian hostage crisis to try and discard decol. And we're trying to avoid war games for another turn. Yeah, so Africa scoring drops for 0. But of course, and you also need to get the scoring needle above 0. Asia's only worth 5 at the moment. Europe's worth 5, that's 10. But the Middle East is 5. Yeah, so I'm still in a lot of trouble in terms of scoring. Even if I dodge war games. Well, my VP's a bonus. That makes sense, but tapping it at this point is all I need to do. Turn 10 AR7. Let's space Iranian hostage crisis and hope for the best. Great, get to discard decol. Still holding John Paul. Don't know about the other 3. If Asia comes before South America scoring, so much the better. Star Wars is of course highly playable with the VOA now in the discard pile. You'll still want to event the Reformer, mostly to make Glasnost less playable. Ah, very good. No discarding of held cards for either party. So it looks like decol will live on briefly. Let's just tap Algeria. As much as anything, I want to have, if I can, the only coup of the turn, which nets me a VP. So by tapping stuff, it makes him respond. So what's his other card besides John Paul? So the 4-2 VP space is a race too. We've had the 2, the 3 and the 4 VP space while the hard fought. So it's his choice now to get a coup off or place influence. If he doesn't get the coup off, I'm going to try. He does get the coup off. And it's massive. So let's play in there for now and try and make a stab for Africa. Got to watch out for war games, but I was going to be anyway, even if I cooed because of Yuri and Samantha. I pull war games, which is lucky. I pull Junta, which is outrageously lucky. And I can Latin American. Okay, so let's start with Junta. And I expect to see Aldrich here. If he Aldrich, his Asia scoring has to go. If he starts pouring influence into Japan, I get lucky again. Problem with Latin America is I have to use the China card. Okay, so Asia scoring, I assume, is the one that has to go. Or US-Japan influence into Japan. But I can obviously do more damage there. Yeah, fine. To be expected. Big coup needed here, please. Fails, that's pretty big. Space might be key here. Looks like his clock management's not bad. Oh, overprotecting Central America, very wise. Although Latin American Death Crisis is going to come in. So the question is, what else should I get up to? Let's get a space off first. I'm going to give up on South America. I get the 4 VP from space, which again is pretty huge. So the question is, will I be able to do enough in final scoring, assuming I'm out 10 in South America? Ugh, ouch. Okay, so I will now pump Argentina and try and level up there. And I do need to try and convert Africa and try and deny Middle East domination. Oh, yes, he's massively overprotected. So when I'll get a coup off and dominate Africa, not discard, and let him have another realign on Chile, because I can be doing other stuff in the meantime. So I might be giving up 10 on South America. Although AR7 I could put one in Colombia to make it 8. So it could be a maths exercise here. He'll try again. I'll put one in. Keep it coming. I don't mind a bit of card advantage here. So, again, I can put 3 into Chile again and just let him keep realigning. And get to AR7 first. Pretty gross for him. Okay, so I use my 4-op card. No, I'll use the China card, because I know I'm going to use US-Japan as well. Please comment freely. I don't know whether what I've done is good. I've been on the back foot all game. I'm lucky to have dodged war games, but I don't know. It's been a strange one, for sure. AR7, I definitely want to flip Lebanon to deny domination. And then it's just a question of whether the scores level up. So being realigned, I can play him one more time, and then I flip Lebanon and one into Colombia. Is possibly my best gambit. Let's see. So at the moment, 12, 16, 17, including the China card at the moment. -2, 15, 10, 5, 1 to Russia. So it's close. Of course, I can use US-Japan to pour into Cuba. He's going to try again. Cool. Miss. Oh, doesn't miss. Strikes nicely. Right at the heart. He'll try, maybe he'll try Angola at -1 again. Goes to Mexico. Gets there. Now just leaves me flipping Lebanon. Or at least breaking Lebanon. Still fine. So that's one last realign for you, Sunshine. So where does that leave the game state? 5, 9, 13, 5, 9, 13, 17, 18. Think he's done enough? Yeah, good game. Well, do comment. I may have pissed away the ending right at the end there. If I did, I did. C'est la vie. It's been a long day. Comments welcome. Thanks as always. Until next